Hi guys, welcome to a beautiful Palma de Mallorca where Porsche has kindly invited me to test the new Macan S. Now, even though this is just a mid-cycle refresh, this is a really important car for the brand, as the Macan is the #1 selling car for Porsche, which enables it to make awesome sports cars like the GT2 RS. Now, as it's just a refresh, there's not much visually to differentiate the 2018 and the 2019. There's a larger grille up front, different headlights, and a singular rear light bar across the rear. Most of the important stuff happens under the skin. New in the Macan for 2019 is the 3-liter turbocharged V6 in the Macan S. This engine features a single twin-scroll turbo placed in between the cylinders that form the V of the V6. This central placement allows for less turbo lag and quicker throttle response. Inside, not much has changed, with the biggest upgrades being the new 10.2-inch high-def touchscreen driver display, and the optionally available sport steering wheel, which is 10 millimeters smaller than the stock wheel and covered in Alcantara. So clearly, Porsche has made a lot of small revisions to this car. And in Porsche fashion, all those revisions come together in a car that I think on the road you're really going to enjoy. But don't take my word for it. Let's go for a ride. Now, the first thing you notice is how crisp that throttle response is. And that has everything to do with that twin-scroll turbo being placed inside the V. That shortened up all the intake tracks and made for a throttle response that is almost like a 911. And coming into this narrow section here, the car handles so well. All of the small revisions that Porsche has made to their suspension has made this feel way more like a sports car than a crossover. Other cool thing I like about this is it's got the optional Sport Chrono package. Now, what that does is it allows you to change a lot of different parameters on this car, mainly the active suspension, which I find is hugely helpful when it comes to a situation like this, where you've got a heavy car on a narrow, twisty road that's a bit bumpy, and this suspension just seems to soak everything up. The Pdk transmission is great in automatic mode, but around here with this tight, twisty corners, it's nice to be able to have some manual control over the gearbox. But even if you don't, even if you just leave it in automatic, it's pretty good at figuring out where you want to be in terms of always being in the right gear. So is there anything I don't like about the new Macan? Well, if you had to nitpick, I'd say the one thing is that the engine is not the most engaging engine out there. It's good, it's got great throttle response, it's got decent horsepower, but at the end of the day, it doesn't excite me like an engine in a 911 does. Other than that, I think Porsche has got a winner on its hands. The big thing with this is the Macan is the #1 selling car for Porsche, and that's hugely important. And I think with all of the small revisions they've made, it'll keep the Macan at the top of the heap for a long time to come. So as you can see, the Macan is another great car for Porsche. Pricing has not been announced yet, but given the 2018 was $55,400, expect the 2019 to be a couple thousand more with the additional features when the car arrives at dealers this spring.